What's going on, guys? This is Oliver, formerly from Response AI, and now obviously we've got Comb and Seer that I'm running at the minute. So I wanted to talk today about going from $0 to the first SaaS customer in about 48 hours. So this is going to be a hypothetical sort of challenge that we'll actually do here. So assuming we've got the actual tool created, we've got everything ready to go, but we need to get the first customer in 48 hours. So building a SaaS product and landing that first customer might sound like a sort of a tall order, but it is possible if you focus on the right steps, finding the right sort of pot of leads, and then just getting the messages out and getting the posts out, and you're good to go. So this isn't about building, by the way, guys, a polished, feature-rich product. It's about identifying a specific problem, creating immediate value. So, creating something that looks immediately valuable, and then removing as much friction as you possibly can between you and that first sort of payment coming through on Stripe. We'll be using Stripe as the actual payment processing. So we're going to go through it how, sort of step by step, and we can collect some money. If you don't already have a SaaS built, you can check out my other video about building a software from scratch without code. So we're going to define the problem, and some of this might sound a bit cliched or a bit generic, but just sort of bear with me here. So the first step is to define the problem that is so specific that a customer would get immediate value from logging into your product. So not value later or after they've had a 10-minute call with you or after they've gone through 10 video courses, value immediately as they log in, because these are the people that are going to buy within 48 hours. So if you can create some kind of immediate value for the product, then they're obviously going to hop in and they're going to want that as soon as possible. If you have something that requires a lot of setup, then obviously this challenge is not as appropriate for you, because you are not going to be able to coax people into a software that's going to take several days or several weeks to define that value. So you've got to ask yourself, who is this customer? Where do they hang out online? So specific subreddits, Twitter threads, followers of big Twitter accounts, LinkedIn groups, whatever it may be. And then what keywords do they use when talking about their pain points? So you can use a tool. So a bit of a plug is that GetSeer effectively searches thousands, millions of comments on Reddit and X, etc., to find people talking about your products or problems that they're having. You can find 100 of these people, save it into a list, and we're going to be searching for those people in those comments whilst they're complaining about the problems that we solve. So for example, if you're building a tool called email outreach, you can look for people saying things like, I spend hours personalizing emails and my response rates are still terrible. So that is a perfect person that we can go after to actually DM and sort of say, look, here's something that we can solve for you in the next, couple of hours. Let us know, because we're trying to get the first payment within 48 hours of this challenge. Now, once you've found them, you're going to DM them with a script that promises immediate value. So for example, hey name, I saw your post about problem. I built a tool that helps you solve problem in under 10 minutes. Would you be open to a quick demo? I'd love to get your feedback. The key here is to imply that the value will be delivered immediately. So for example, get your first 10 leads in 30 minutes. You can buy this SaaS to get X, so you can get more Y in less than 10 minutes of work. This isn't about selling a dream. It's about selling an outcome for that prospect, Now, when it comes to building a landing page, you can go to my two websites that are really, really high converting. You've got trycomb.com and you've got getseer.com. Now, both of these are built based off of a pretty powerful landing page framework. Your landing page doesn't have to be fancy, but it does need to funnel users towards the purchase, not towards videos or towards some other external link. It needs to funnel them towards the payment link. And here's how you can structure it. The headline will state the immediate value. So for example, get your first 10 leads in 30 minutes with X or Y. The problem statement is describe the pain point your target customer is feeling. So we know you've been spending X or way too much money on ABC. We're going to solve this for you. Solution is to explain how your product solves this problem. And then the call to action is going to be the payment, of course. So effectively, in this scenario, I wouldn't recommend, booking demos or starting free trials. You can just send them straight to a payment link, because a trial is obviously going to take us out of the 48 hours, and booking a demo, they could book 5 days in advance and the challenge is over. If you don't have testimonials yet, pad out your page with logos of companies that use similar technologies or methodologies. So, for example, trusted by hundreds of Fortune 500 companies for specific strategy. You shouldn't lie, but you should, you can imply that your methodology is proven by other companies. So an example is, if your tool is a competitor to ChatGPT, ChatGPT is an LLM, and if you are building an LLM, you can say, LLMs are used by giant companies. So you just need some logos on the website. Even if you need to use some of your friends as testimonials, whatever it may be, just try and get the first couple on that page, Now, to design your page, you can look at high growth but lower revenue companies like Clay, Firecrawl, Superbase, etc. Right? So these companies have landing pages that convert well because they're optimized for growth and revenue, not for like brand recognition or anything stupid like that. If you're going on Amazon to try and figure out how a giant company does their landing pages, is not going to work. If you're going to go on Zoom or Salesforce or something like that, it's just not going to work. Microsoft, none of these work. The reason they don't work is because they haven't needed to worry about customers for a long time. You want to model off companies that are desperate to get as many customers as they possibly can and make as much money as they can. And these smaller but high growth companies are going to be the ones that you can model off, because they need to convert as many users as possible with their landing pages. Now, you can set up payment processing, especially if you're in, America or Canada or Europe, whatever it may be. It is a bit harder when you're in sort of, Asian countries, that kind of thing, because there's a few more restrictions. But Stripe helps you set up that payment processing. It's free, it's fast, reliable, and integrated with all the tools, whatever it may be. For now, you can just create some kind of, one payment link for $50. It doesn't matter, because we're just going to try and get the payment in the first sort of 48 hours of this challenge. We'll try and get a payment the first day, and you just want one link. So for example, choose one of these plans, $49 a month, $99 a month, $129 a month. For now, you could even do some kind of really aggressive annual plan. So for the entire year for $100, because it doesn't matter what we're charging. We just need to get that first payment. Now we're going to offer an urgency-based incentive, right? So what this means is that we're going to encourage sign-ups within the 48-hour window by offering something that's unique to that window. So early bird offer, in the next 48 hours, get 2x credits for the first month. We're not going to offer trials. We're trying to collect cash. The other side is that you could offer one-to-one mentorship. You could offer an onboarding call, anything like that to get them in that urgency-based sort of psychological state where they're incentivized to pay you money in the first 48 hours. Step 4 is we need a bit more traction than just sending 100 of these messages to people on Twitter and Reddit, right? So we're going to create a self-fulfilling lead magnet. Now, an SFLM is what I call it, is a free resource that attracts your ideal customers whilst also filtering out everyone else. So for example, a free template called 5 cold email templates that get a 30% response rate. That is going to specifically target and be of interest to people doing cold email. Or a quick guide, how to book your first 10 meetings in 30 minutes for your accounting firm, right? That is going to be something specific to accountants. And that's how we're going to filter out all the people who aren't interested and only get eyes and attention on people who are interested. Now, the SFLM should be short and digestible. It can be like a Google Doc or a PDF. And at the top of the document, you should include a glaring plug for your product. So it's a Google Doc that has all the information that you've told them you're going to give them. But at the top, it says, if you want help with X problem, go to this link, and it'll be the payment link. So that's how I would recommend doing it. That's how I got my first sort of 20 to 50 sort of customers for my past software response AI. Create one of these lead magnets and then send them to a Google Doc, for example, with the pitch at the top. This guide is brought to you by, your software, the fastest way to solve problem. And you can run the giveaway on Twitter as well to engineer that virality. So for example, if you've got the self-fulfilling lead magnet now, you're going to post it and say, this is bonkers. We are giving away XYZ. Like and retweet this post to get my free guide. I'm going to DM you the guide as soon as possible, right? So you're going to get a flywheel of people who are self-fulfilling because they have shown interest in a very specific thing that you're giving away. And the other side is that they're going to be retweeting that into an audience that is similar. You know what I mean? So that's how you can create that viral sort of loop of people who are the right eyeballs and not people who are going to waste your time. We need a payment within 48 hours. Now we're going to spend, potentially, if you want, you don't have to. I built this guide on the basis that you were going to be spending no money. But if you want, you can spend $100 on ads to boost that post, the like and retweet post, and DM everyone who engages. So remember, for $100, you can see it, send it to thousands of people. So these people are going to be a bit broader, but they, based off of how specific your self-fulfilling lead magnet is, if you have applied $100 to ads on X or Reddit or Twitter or whatever, or Facebook, if you're giving away that thing that's so specific, then the people who engage with that ad are obviously going to be in your target audience, which is useful. Now, when a customer raises an objection to paying within that first 48 hours, because remember, we are trying to get that money soon, you can use ChatGPT to craft a response, but not a response, but rather just the thinking process behind dealing with that objection. So the input is, my SaaS helps people do X, Y, and Z. A customer just said, I'm not sure this will work for me. What should I say? So when we're trying to get the first payment in the first 48 hours, there will be people saying, I'm not sure about this. What do I do? What do I say? I'm not sure if this is going to work. Is it a waste of money? How can you prove it's right for me? Whatever it may be. You just say, I understand your concern. Many of our users felt the same way at first, but they were able to achieve result. And if you, don't achieve the result within a couple of days, I'll give you your money back, right? So you can create a removal of the mental load and the sort of risk for them. But going through AI with the objections that they give you in the first 48 hours is going to obviously help you kind of go through those hoops and jump over those sort of boundaries and barriers. Because when you're looking to get as much money as possible or get one payment within that 48 hours, you're not going to be thinking about strategic ways of dealing with objections. You just need to tell them that you will do everything you can to get them the results that they want. Now, removing friction, the biggest barrier to closing that first customer is friction. So to remove it, you can make their account for them. Instead of asking them to sign up through a link and give their name and email and all that kind of stuff, send them the payment link. And once they've paid, create their account manually. You can guide them to the aha moment on a call. If they've paid, you can say, hey, Steve, are you available for a quick call now? Now that you've paid, you may as well hop on for the free call for 10 minutes. Example was, sending their first batch of emails or opening their first batch of leads or adding their first productivity list onto some app, whatever it may be. You need to guide them to actually getting it. Now, effectively, once you've closed that first customer, you can gather feedback and iterate. So you can use their success story to attract more customers. So for example, John booked 10 meetings in his first hour using my SaaS. Do you want to see how it works? And you can start baking these kinds of details into your new marketing plans. So in other words, we are going to eat shit for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, because people aren't going to trust us or know who we are. That's okay. But as soon as you get that first customer, even if you want to refund him and say, look, thanks for trying it out, we're so happy to have you on board. Would you do a video testimonial in exchange for a refund or in exchange for some extra help, whatever it may be? We're going to try and get a video testimonial as soon as possible, because outside of this 48 hours, that's going to help you an insane amount to, sort of scale up. You need to get as many testimonials as you possibly can. So if we sort of define the key takeaways, you've got defining the problem and the customer who cares, and specifically the customer who's going to get the most value immediately, because we're not looking to convert them in 2 weeks' time. We have a 48-hour window. We're going to build a landing page that converts the customers by copying existing high growth but lower revenue companies. So in the sort of $2 to $10 million per year range, is really great because they're high growth, but they haven't like been consumed by the necessity of brand yet. They don't care about how they look. They just care about how much money they're making and how good their service is. The next thing is just set up a payment processing sort of system with urgency-based incentives. So get Stripe, create a Stripe link for $70 and say, look, if you buy within the first 2 days or, in the next 24 hours, we'll give you bonus, 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 and bonus. On top of that, whilst you're DMing people that you found on Reddit and Twitter through something like getseer.com, which are like, obviously you'll find specific keyword-based leads, you're going to create a self-fulfilling lead magnet, the SFLM, which will not only be posted on Twitter and incentivized to have likes and retweets, but you can also run $100 of paid ads if you want. You don't need to. But I strongly recommend creating a product around the potential for running ads, because when you've DM'd everyone you can DM, running ads is going to be a really powerful way for you to do it and for you to get new customers. But you've got to make sure that your software product is a good enough price point to warrant running ads. Because if your software is $7 a month, it's really not going to make much sense to run $1,000 a month worth in ads, because you'll need hundreds and hundreds of customers to actually make that return. If you've got a software that's $80 a month, or even as low as say $50 a month, you can potentially try and run ads to see if people will get in. And you can obviously run annual plan discounts to get people to liquidate the cost of those ads. Very, very cool. And that's how people scale up to millions and millions in revenue with paid acquisition. Now, we're going to use AI, like I said, to handle the objections. And we're going to remove the friction by making accounts for users, and all they have to do is pay us money through Stripe. We're going to aim, guys, for 6 to 8 payment links sent out within the first 48 hours. So the reason we're going to do this is because I know that if I, at any given time, have around 10 payment links floating in space, I know that 3 to 4 of them are going to come back and say, look, I've just logged in or I've just signed up. What do I do next? I don't want you guys going and sending 2 payment links, because if both of them end up flaking on you, you're going to be really disappointed and really deflated. You need to make sure that you have sent at least 6 to 8. Ideally send up to 10 to 20 in the first 24 hours, 48 hours. We have 48 hours to get the first customer. They are out there, right? If you have built a software that is solving a specific problem, and you guys know that their customers are hanging out on, there are customers that hang out on Twitter and Reddit, etc. Go and find them, DM them, and make sure that you do at least 100 on the first day, 100 on the next day. You can join Facebook groups and find people asking similar things. Go into Facebook adjacent groups. Business adjacent Facebook groups. So what I mean by that is, if your tool is based off of productivity or based off of finance, for example, find 10 Facebook groups that are finance based, go through the recently joined members and then add them as friends. And then if they accept the friend request, DM them and say, hey, I found you in this finance group. I've got an idea for a software. Would you like to try it out? Whatever it may be. You see how, guys, what we're doing is in the first 48 hours, we need to identify the communities that these people are sort of like working in and spending time in. And then we are going to make sure that if we go back, we have a landing page that is obviously, ripe for actually converting the lead with that link. If they've already had a conversation with you inside Facebook DMs or Twitter or Reddit DMs, just send them the payment link. The landing page for, is more for people who have seen your self-fulfilling lead magnet on organic stuff like Twitter or Reddit or TikTok, whatever it may be, right? And if they see that self-fulfilling lead magnet and go to a shitty website, they're not going to convert. So as a summary, guys, we are going to define the problem and find the customers where they are. We're going to build a landing page that welcomes them to the payment link. We'll set up the payment processing to make sure that they can actually put their card details in and pay. We're then going to create that SFLM and run that potentially with paid ads or just organic traffic, get a few friends to retweet it or share it, whatever it may be. Handle objections they have with AI so that we can get that comment, that payment in the first 24 to 48 hours. remove friction by helping them set up their account, and aim for 6 to 8 payment links sent each day. You can aim for 6 to 8 in 48 hours, but if you want to really go for it and get your first customer, then do that. Use Get Seer for social signals like Reddit and Twitter. Find these people online where they hang out, ask them to pay for your stuff, and then go from there. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But apart from that, excited to see you guys close your first client online for your software, and obviously scale up from there. If you guys can close 1, you can close 10, 100, 1,000, and then we'll all be rich. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.